Hi everybody, this is Dan Talks Sense, and today I'm going to be doing a review of a discontinued fragrance from the house of Jean-Paul Gaultier. It's called Fleur de Mal. This was a 2007 release and a flanker of the original Le Mal from 1995. So in today's review I'm going to compare the two. I'm going to go over my experience of wearing Fleur de Mal over the last couple of days, and I'm also going to make a conclusion on whether I think you should go and try and hunt this one down on fragrance groups and eBay. So first of all, I'm going to show you the original commercial for Fleur de Mal because I think it's pretty epic. I'm going to do a close-up of the presentation and then I'm going to crack on with the assessment of Fleur de Mal. So if that type of content would interest you, then please stay tuned.
Fleur du mal, le parfum pour homme, par Jean-Paul Gaultier.
So guys, a quick look at the presentation. I put it next to a vintage bottle of Le Mal. That one's from 1999. I do cherish that bottle, it's real potent stuff. Fleur de Mal's clear white design. If I just lift the bottle up, you can see the details underneath, the size of the bottle. Jean-Paul Gaultier written on there as well. BPI at the bottom, and it's got the website down below as well. Interesting thing is that the website was more of a recent thing. I'm sure the website came in about 2003, 2004, and it started to be put on the bottles. I could be wrong there, but that's what I've gathered from looking at my vintage bottles. So yeah, really like nice design of the bottle. Unfortunately, I don't own the tin can like the Le Mal bottle, but I do know that the Fleur de Mal tin can was white as well. So I've wanted to get my hands on Fleur de Mal for a number of years. Me and my friends, when we first started working, it was back in 2003. Our first job was working in a clothing shop in the UK called Matalan, and right next door to our shop was a cosmetics shop called Boots. They're all over the UK. They sell pharmaceuticals and they sell perfumes behind the glass. What we used to do on our breaks is we used to go trigger happy with the fragrances, and at the time there was Le Mal Fahrenheit still popular, there was Boss in Motion and all these classics. Lacoste Red was another one that was popular. In 2007, so we've been working for about 4 years then, and this came out, and I don't remember it too much, but my friend Adam said that he actually bought this, and he got loads of enjoyment out of it and loads of compliments, and his girlfriend, I think he said, liked it as well. And he asked me if I could get him a bottle of this. Now I was looking through eBay, and some of these full bottles are going for over £100 for 125 mils. I was really lucky because I managed to get this from Fragcom UK from a seller, Terry. He was selling this because his partner didn't appreciate the smell, so he was looking to swap it for another fragrance. Now I messaged him and said, would you be happy to sell it? Because I've always wanted to get this this fragrance. He said that if he didn't swap it, he would get in touch. A week later he said, I haven't managed to swap it for anything. He goes, would you like to buy it still? I was like, yeah, of course. How much would you be selling it for? And I managed to pick this up for 30 quid, and there's about 60 mils left, so I was delighted because you can see the prices on eBay, so I thank him for that. And that is another reason why, guys, you should definitely join, if you're in the UK, join Fraghead's fragrance group on Facebook or Fragcom UK. There's also another one called Certified Sellers as well, which I'm part of. Really good members, and you'll get fragrances for really good prices, so I was delighted to get my hands on this one. I really like the Le Mal line, and I own a number of the vintage bottles from the late 90s and early 2000s, and trust me, if you haven't smelt a vintage bottle of Le Mal, you're only getting half the experience, I feel, by smelling a newer version, because the newer versions, I think they're kind of weaker, they're watered down. You've got the lavender and the vanilla of the original, but you haven't got this strong mintiness, I don't think, and the earthiness of the original. And I say original, I mean vintage versions, vintage batches. super potent. If I wear this, this is from, I think it's 2001, this batch, and if I wear this, you can smell me down the street. It's unbelievable performance. But going back to this, because this is why I'm doing this video, this is Fleur de Mal. This was released in 2007. And I was really intrigued to know what this would smell like, because I've watched numerous reviews, and when I'm interested in buying a fragrance, the first two people that I go to are Joy Amin, because I think he's really in depth and with his reviews, and he's really honest guy and really warm character, and I'm part of Fragcon Bangladesh, and I'm really happy that I can communicate with Joy on there and other members. So I always go to him. He'd only done kind of like a first impressions of Fleur de Mal, but what it came across in that review was that this was super potent like the original Le Mal. But it wasn't in great detail. He has since done a video where he compared it to the fragrances that you should get your hands on, discontinued ones. The other one that I usually go to is Astrum from Gent Sense, but he'd only done a version of the cologne, a review of the cologne, and not the proper EDT. Now there are a few reviews of this out there, but I didn't really get a conclusion really. I'm really clear on what it would smell like, so I'm still really intrigued to smell this one for the first time. The thing that struck out for me when I first sprayed this on is how green the fragrance is. Now if you look on Fragrantica, it's not always accurate, but the way they describe it is sort of green, spicy fragrance, and they're spot on there. You've got, you know, the notes listed, you've got chamomile, neroli, and petitgrain. Now I've done a little bit of research, and petitgrain and neroli are from the bitter orange tree. The petitgrain is from the twigs and the leaves, and the neroli is from the blossom of the bitter orange tree. So what you get is, if you like green fragrances, I'm sure Damis de Smalley would like this one. It's just like fresh and herbaceous, and then you got chamomile in there as well. So chamomile tea, people will drink that. I don't drink it too often, but I was trying to get my head around what chamomile tea would smell like before I bought this, and it's like a bit of like a sweetness and a honey sort of smell, but you know, fresh and calming scent. People have that to help them with their sleep. The best way of describing this is if you took the original Le Mal, you take away that mintiness and the harshness, I think you get, the roughness. You still got the lavender and the vanilla in the base, and that's what you get when you first spray this on. But you've got a touch of orange, a little bit of orange. It's not in your face. It's not like a proper citrus boom like you'd get with Acqua di Parma. It sort of blends into the background. What you do get a big emphasis on this is soapiness. So what it reminded me of is like if you had a hybrid of Le Mal with Prada L'Homme. For me, Prada L'Homme is quite a boring scent. It's nice, it's clean, it's professional, it's safe in the office, but it's kind of boring. For me, I want something a little bit extra in a fragrance, but you have that real soapiness from Prada L'Homme, and you mix it with the lavender and the vanilla of Le Mal, and then you get this extra bit of greenness in there, a little bit of bitterness actually when you sprayed it on. So when you got like a really sweet sort of side to Le Mal when you put it on, and the bubblegum vibe, what Jeremy Fragrance usually talks about, you got a little bit of bitterness in this one that sort of takes away that part of it, but in a nice sophisticated way. For me at the time, Fleur de Mal didn't really, I don't think, take off as much as they anticipated. It might be in the wrong era because we have more daring scents now. The commercial was people cage fighting, and then it ended with a guy with a bit of blood on his face and he sprayed Fleur de Mal on. So I don't know what the image they were trying to come across with it was, but I think maybe people just thought they liked the bubblegum vibe, the outgoing, the clubbing fragrance of Le Mal, and they just didn't see a reason to buy Fleur de Mal, and because they kind of reined it in slightly, gave it a more sophisticated side, I think, with the soapiness, and made it more maybe went in a little bit of a different direction. They experimented with it and said, what if we added a greenness to the mal and see, if it takes off. And it didn't quite take off. And as I've mentioned, there was some discounted shops in the UK that were selling this for like 26 quid for 125 mils. And I'm just gutted I didn't pick more of them, or any of them, up at the time, because this is a really nice fragrance. In terms of performance, this is really good. So sadly, we've got to wear our masks to the shops, and hopefully we'll get to a time in the not too distant future we won't have to wear our masks anymore. But I was wearing my mask and I was walking back from the shopping centre, and this was performing really well. I could smell this, and it was just a soapy version of Le Mal. And I thought, this is really, really good. And I was really chuffed, because we have expectations when people talk about discontinued fragrances, and they're ones you should definitely pick up. And then sometimes you can smell and think, actually, it's not that great, and there's a reason why it's discontinued. I personally think it's just the wrong place, wrong time to release this. I think if you release this modern day, I think this will catch on, and this will be much more popular now if you brought it out in 2021. Now, the comparisons with Amouage Reflection I get, and it's only because of the soapiness and a little bit of sweetness in there, because people do compare Le Mal to Amouage Reflection, but for me, Amouage Reflection has got white florals in there, which give it a kind of a more mature lady perfume. So it's not like that's a bad thing. I think it's a real sophisticated and prestige fragrance Reflection. Some people just think it's cheap and overpriced designer, but I do think it's quite prestige and I like it. But I see that as more white floral. I think that you've got like a line of fragrances. You've got Prada L'Homme, which is basic for me, soapy. You've got Le Mal, which is really out there with the bubble gum sort of vibe, and the fresh vanilla and lavender, and perfect for clubbing. This is kind of a hybrid between Prada L'Homme and Le Mal. So if you put them two together, you get Fleur de Mal. And then Reflection is you're taking a little bit of Le Mal, a little bit of Prada L'Homme, and adding some white florals in there. I personally think you could own all of them. I wouldn't go and buy Prada L'Homme because I think I want more from a fragrance, but I am going to buy Amouage Reflection, a full bottle of that soon. Of course, I absolutely love Le Mal. I think it's probably the best designer fragrance ever made, because people still wear it today, and it was released in 1995. It's unbelievable, and it gets me loads of compliments still, and just really good memories of clubbing when I was younger. Fleur de Mal, if I made a conclusion, should you go and try and hunt this down, I don't think that you should be paying over 100 quid for a bottle of this. No way. But what I do think is that if you can get this for a reasonable price, if you could get a full bottle for about 50 to 60 quid on eBay, I think it's worth it. The reason I think it's worth it is because you have Le Mal, the original DNA, but this is more, I think, office friendly, and I think Fleur de Mal would have been perfect for the daytime. And then you've got Le Mal for the clubbing. This is nice, it's sweet, but you've got a clean, fresh aspect to it, and it just smells different to a lot of the fragrances that are out there today. Because although you've got the lavender and vanilla, which are in loads of fragrances, you've got chamomile and petitgrain in there, and it's just different. And it's just a nice clean, it's like a mixture hybrid of two different directions. So on that aspect, I think for the bottle as well, the bottle's beautiful. I really appreciate that design. It's got a nostalgic feel to it because it's potent. Honestly, like, I can't wait to wear this when we don't have to wear our masks. Even with our masks on, 2 sprays was enough behind the ears, and this was potent. So I think, yeah, if you get it for a reasonable price, add it to your collection. I'm personally, in my experience of fragrances, where I want to get my hands on discontinued fragrances, because I just find it interesting. It brings back memories of when I was in my teens, early 20s. It's something special about owning a fragrance that's hard to find. I really regret not buying Fahrenheit Absolute, because that was available for, I think there was 30 mils for 40 quid on the Fragcom UK page, and I didn't buy it, and you see it for hundreds of pounds on eBay. That's the next one on my list, is Fahrenheit Absolute. Of course, Gucci Envy is like gold dust. There's no way you could get that for cheap now, and it's really, really hard to find. But this is the first one on the list that I wanted. I'm really pleased that I own it. It's lived up to my expectations because of performance projection. It's not, some people saying that it was made them feel sick and it's nauseating and it's not a good combination of notes, but to me they've just got the original DNA. They've added some soapiness, some clean notes to it, some green notes, and it is a really nice spin on it. So Mason Francis Kirk de John did an experiment with it. I think it's well ahead of its time. Didn't catch on, but I'm pleased that I now own a bottle and I could experience it. And I really enjoyed wearing it, and I'm going to wear it today. It is absolutely freezing in the UK, and sorry if I'm shaking on camera a little bit. I just need to stop being a tight arse and put the fire on. But I am going to go out on the bike because the sun is out. Although it's freezing, the sun's out, it's beautiful, and I'm going to go and get some fresh air and wear this, or can smell this when I'm cycling, projecting around me. I want you to let me know, guys, in the comments down below, have you tried Fleur de Mal? What did you get from the fragrance in your experience? Because it wasn't what I was expecting. When people were commenting on people's videos saying that it smelled like a walking through a field of flowers, I kind of get that, but somebody else said like a basket of oranges, and it's not that in your face like Acqua di Parma, but really, really nice. So let me know what your experiences are of wearing Fleur de Mal in the comments, because it's not just helpful to me, it's helpful to people that might watch this video and they might go and look down in the comments, because that's what I usually do. So if you could just let myself and people know in the comments down below. This is what I think Fragcom is about, really helping each other out, letting us know what our experiences are, and helping them make that decision on whether they should go down and hunt this fragrance. If you can get this, I think for about 60 quid for a bottle, I think, yeah, go for it. But don't be spending over £100 for it. And try and get some decants of it, because some people might be selling decants of this still, if you're lucky. But yeah, definitely try and get this in your collection. If you're like me, you want to collect these nostalgic fragrances, it's definitely one you should have in your collection. And also let me know any other fragrances that you feel that I should be hunting down and trying to get into my collection, discontinued ones, which you think are definitely worth looking out for, rare discontinued ones. I really am interested. Fahrenheit Absolute will be one, Gucci MV is another, but let me know which other ones I should be looking out for. There may be some Givenchy's from the 80s, some powerhouses, but yeah, and maybe more in the Fahrenheit line, because there's some good ones in there, I've heard. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Really appreciate you watching my video today. I hope it's been helpful. But yeah, soapier, greener version of Le Mal. It's not as polarizing as I thought it was going to be, and I think that this will be all right in the office. And for a climate, I would say you could wear this in colder climate like today, but I think I'd wear this in the evening in the summer when it's cooled down a bit. I think this would be really, really nice. I think for perfect climate, I'd say this is probably springtime. Yeah, definitely springtime. It's not as sickly sweet as Le Mal or Ultra Mal, so you won't get that issue in the high heat. But I'd probably say springtime would probably be the best climate to wear it. But yeah, really, really like the fragrance. Really pleased I've got it in my collection. and please let me know your thoughts. If you haven't subscribed already to my channel, I'd really appreciate if you did subscribe by clicking the button down below, and give us a like or a dislike if you don't like the video. Whatever, I'm happy, it's interaction. And I appreciate you spending the time to watch my video today. So I hope you all enjoyed the rest of your weekend, and I'll speak to you all very soon.